Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you know when live we go.
Before we begin with the discussion, here is a very important announcement for you in case you are confused about which optional subject to choose, how to find the best teachers, and where is the right kind of academic support for your optional papers, and above all, how to actually prepare for the same during these very difficult and challenging times. Then let me tell you that Rao's IAS has the best solution for your optional subject related problems. And for this very reason, we are going to conduct 3 live online counseling sessions in which Vikram sir is going to talk about sociology, Indrajit sir is going to talk about geography, and Paramjit sir is going to talk about history on 29th of May. These optional batches are starting from 4th of June 2021 via live online classes. Now consider this as a call to all those who wish to completely cover the optional subject by December 2021. Now this will ensure timely coverage of optional subject and then you can focus your attention completely on prelims from January or February 2022. Now as you all know that Rao's IAS is offering guidance for political science, public administrations, history, sociology, geography, economics and psychology from Delhi, Jaipur and Bangalore centers, and all these counseling sessions have already been taken by our faculties on 22nd of May. The video of the rest of the sessions conducted on the same day are available on Rao's eLearn platform. Sign in to your free eLearn account and watch these videos available under video series Optional Counseling 2021. Let us now begin the discussion.
Hello and welcome to Rao's IAS DNS session. Today we are going to have a discussion on today's newspaper, The Hindu, Delhi edition dated 26th May 2021. We shall pick up articles important for civil service examination and discuss them as per the demand of the exam. Today's newspaper has not so much of article which will be new to you. Many of them have already been covered. Almost all of them, in fact, all of them have been covered. But nevertheless, we'll have some discussion. And the articles that we intend to discuss are there on your screen. Timestamping for the same has been given in the description section as well. Although this has been covered many times before, but we'll do it yet again one more time. There are 2 articles in today's newspaper concerning mucormycosis. There's a lead article on mucormycosis threat, and there is another article on page number 10 concerning the precautions of this fungal infection. First and foremost, mucormycosis is a fungal infection called as black fungus infection. It is a rare fungal infection. Rare fungal infection because the fungus that causes this infection is present everywhere. It's present in the air we breathe, the water around us. It's there on almost all the moist surfaces. It is present in abundance in environment. And if fungal infection starts to happen from this fungus, which is present everywhere, then just imagine the scale of pandemic that it will cause. But luckily, this kind of fungal infection is not fatal, is not very common. Because our immune system is potent enough to fight this fungal infection. And in fact, this kind of fungus is present in our body many times. But our immunity keeps protecting us from them. Fungus, by the way, as you would know, is a eukaryotic organism, and there are commonly 3 kinds of fungus: yeast, molds, and mushrooms. The fungus that causes mucormycosis or black fungus infection is a mold. And molds are very commonly known to grow and multiply and spread on moist surface or in damp areas. The reason why it's called as black fungus infection is not because the color of the fungus is black, but because it causes black spots in the area it infects, like the nasal cavity, the mouth, the throat, and the lungs. As we have already talked about, it's a rare fungal infection. But the thing is, lately it has been accounted that the spread of this fungal infection is 70 times higher than other countries. So much so that the central government has asked the state government to declare this disease as an epidemic under the Epidemic Diseases Act, and lately Tamil Nadu has done it. We'll have a very short discussion on this as to why the infectivity of this fungus in India is so much high. And we'll talk about it in the context of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. The thing is that this black fungus infection is very closely related to the high sugar level in the body. It is related to people with diabetes. You see, people with diabetes are more susceptible to this kind of fungal infection or any other kind of fungal infection because their immune system has been compromised. So mucormycosis is also getting very aggressive in India because of the impaired defense system, the immune system of the host, the patient with diabetes, and it will get even more fatal if the patient has undergone COVID-19 treatment. And the effect will be even more fatal if the patient has been infected by SARS-CoV-2. Now start connecting the dots. First of all, mucormycosis is related with high blood sugar, diabetes. Diabetes is related with compromised immune system. There is another relation that has been drawn to infectivity of mucormycosis, which is use of some specialized drugs. The drugs that is also called as steroid. There are three things that you must take notice concerning infectivity of mucormycosis. First is uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, or the high sugar level in patient's blood. The second is the use of steroid, especially in the context of treatment of SARS-CoV-2, and we'll talk about it in a while. Additional to these two factors, if the patient has undergone any immunotherapy, if the patient has undergone cancer therapy or stem cell transplantation or any solid organ transplantation, in that case also the patient becomes vulnerable to mucormycosis. And all these three things are pointing towards one thing: compromised immunity. Diabetic patients, their immune system is compromised. And we'll understand as to how when you take steroid, your immune system gets compromised. And whenever there is therapy like cancer therapy or the therapy given after stem cell transplantation, there happens immunosuppression of the patient. So basically, everything gets down to this. If your immune system gets compromised, the ability of your body to fight the pathogen decreases. And hence, it is allowed to overgrow in your body to the level when it starts messing up with your general physiological function, and hence the infection. But you must also know and understand that this fungal infection is not contagious. It cannot spread from people to people contact. But yes, one can get infected by the spores of these fungus, the molds present in the air, by touching any damp surface, maybe even oxygen cylinder in the hospital over which the fungus has grown, or because of water contamination, or because of presence of the fungus in the environment. As we have talked about before, this fungus, this mold, is present in abundance in the environment. So they are getting in and out of our body all the time. But the immune system keeps their number under check. Once your immune system gets compromised, you're obviously under the threat of getting infected or severely infected by these fungus. Let's now talk about as to what is the deal with using steroids. How is it related to infectivity of mucormycosis? See, steroids have been given, it has been prescribed, very liberally used for treating patients for COVID-19. If you must have suffered from COVID-19, your doctor might have prescribed this to you as well. Steroid gives strength to the body. People who go for gymming, they also use steroids. Steroids generally is used to push up the blood sugar level so that more energy is available. Your blood sugar level will be used by the cells. Generally, what happens if you eat excess of food, then whatever amount of glucose is required by the cell, it goes into the cell, and rest of it is converted into glycogen and stored in the liver. This job is done by enzyme called as insulin. It is released by pancreas. So insulin comes and collects the extra glucose and stores it in the liver. But when you have requirement of very high energy and continuous requirement of energy, then you don't want blood glucose to be stored. Rather, you would like it to be staying there so that every now and then you can use that glucose for extreme physical activities. That's why you take steroid when you do gymming or any other extreme physical activity. Essentially, steroids push up the blood sugar level. The reason why it was prescribed for COVID-19 patients was a similar one, to give strength to the body. But this is not the main reason. The main reason for giving steroid is to reduce inflammation. Inflammation is general swelling. Swelling is one kind of inflammation. Inflammation you can understand as swelling. Swelling can happen in lungs. You know that COVID-19 leads to severe respiratory syndrome. And when the lungs, parts of the lungs gets inflamed, it starts to get leaky. The fluid comes out and gets collected in the air sac, the alveoli. And this becomes the cause of people's death. This inflammation is further accelerated by a phenomena called as cytokine storm. Cytokines are kind of proteins, lipids, they are signaling agents in our immune system. If there is a storm, that means too many of cytokines getting produced, then there will be hyperimmune response, resulting in extreme inflammation of the infected area, so that other cells, WBC and other cells of the immune system can come in. But this inflammation is causing the tissues, the layers, to become leaky, and the fluid is going into alveoli. So you don't want this. You don't want the hyperimmune response. You don't want cytokine storm to operate. And steroid reduces cytokine storm, and in general it reduces inflammation. This is why it was prescribed to COVID-19 patient. But additionally what it will do, it will increase the blood insulin level. This blood insulin level will be increased both in diabetic and non-diabetic patients. The overall effect of a steroid would be to enhance the blood sugar level and to reduce the response of our immune system. It will reduce the immune response. So, in the bet of preventing alveoli from getting filled by the leaky fluid, what steroid essentially does is to reduce immunity. And when the immunity of the body is reduced, you understand the incoming pathogens will have a greater chance to multiply and overtake the physiology of the body. So people consuming steroid have to be overtly precautious that they don't go near the damp surface, they don't touch it, they avoid going to moist areas. But sometime it may become impossible because when it's raining like cats and dogs, like presently, the whole environment, the whole surrounding gets moist. In that case, you have to cover up your body, wear gloves and mask. Your legs and hands must not be open. The effect of steroids takes actually 4 weeks to wean away after the patient stopped taking steroid. So for 4 weeks, your immune system will be compromised and your blood sugar level will be high. And this is the window of time during which the recovered patients are falling victim to mucormycosis mold. Now let's talk about as to what's the deal with raised blood sugar level in SARS-CoV-2 infected patients. In one of the lab study, it has been found out recently that this virus causing COVID-19 disease, SARS-CoV-2, can potentially multiply in pancreatic cells and it can contribute to increased blood sugar levels. When your blood sugar level is high, the immune system gets compromised. And if the virus gets inside the pancreatic cell, the blood sugar level will be high. It will interfere with the job of creating insulin. If the pancreatic cells does not create insulin, then the excess glucose in the blood will not be absorbed and the blood sugar level will rise. So SARS-CoV-2 is also said to increase the blood sugar level and hence decrease the immune response. This is of particular concern because in India, the number of diabetic patients is continuously increasing. It was around 65 million in 2016 and the percentage is increasing year on year. Additionally, you might know that there is an underlying higher genetic susceptibility to diabetes in Indians. Diabetes mellitus can be hereditary. It can run into the family. And the genetic susceptibility of Indians is higher in case of diabetes. So that might partially explain as to why the infectivity of mucormycosis in India is 70 times higher compared to other countries, apart from lower hygiene factors. There is an editorial article on page number 6, Rules and Rulers. The ruler here is government, and the rule is concerning the changes via notification in the IT rules of 2011. The changes are concerning the function responsibilities of intermediaries, the social media platforms. The IT Intermediary Guidelines Rules 2011 has been elaborately discussed by Naved sir in the DNS 20th March 2021. So for your reference, I'm just appending that discussion over here.
Now, from your prelims point of view, you must know about this particular rule, that is the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines Rules 2011. So let us understand this particular news in the backdrop of this IT Rule 2011. So according to this rule, companies or intermediaries who collects, stores or deals with data must publish privacy policy whereby such privacy policy also must provide for safeguards against data misuse. So according to the central government, WhatsApp has not updated its privacy policy or WhatsApp has not published the new privacy policy as per the IT Intermediary Guidelines Rules 2011. So in this regard, the central government claims that privacy policy of WhatsApp violates the 2011 IT Intermediary Guideline Rules. Further, the central government also states that WhatsApp has not clarified what type of personal sensitive data it is collecting from users' data. So basically, WhatsApp will collect users' data. And here, the central government also claims that WhatsApp has made no distinction between personal data and sensitive personal data which WhatsApp will collect. Another problem highlighted by the central government is that data of users is also shared with third-party service providers, and details of such third-party service providers is not provided by WhatsApp. And there is also no option of withdrawing consent retrospectively. So these are some of the concerns which has been highlighted by the central government, and accordingly in its petition filed in the Delhi High Court has urged the High Court to stop WhatsApp new privacy policy. So from my examination perspective, we must also know about the IT Intermediary Guidelines Rules 2011 and the important points which these rules provide. Now before going through the intermediary rules, let us first of all go through the meaning of the term intermediary as provided under Information Technology Act 2000. So it says intermediary with respect to particular electronic records means any person who on behalf of another person receives, stores or transmits that record or provides any service with respect to that record and includes telecom service providers, network service providers, internet service providers, web hosting service providers, search engines like Google, online payment sites, online auction sites, online marketplaces and cyber cafes. So intermediary includes all these aspects. So a question can be asked in your prelims examination with respect to intermediary as to which of the following comprises of intermediary as per the Information Technology Act. So you must know these important aspects highlighted here in this particular provision. So based on the Information Technology Act, particularly Section 79, the central government has framed the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines Rules 2011. And accordingly, as per the Intermediary Rules 2011, due diligence must be done by intermediaries, and such due diligence which is to be done by the intermediaries also must be published. So here WhatsApp must also publish terms and conditions of use, rules and regulations if there are any changes, privacy policy, user agreement for access or usage of intermediaries computer resource by any person. Further, the user agreement which is published by the intermediary, here WhatsApp, shall also inform users not to host, display, upload, modify, publish, transmit, update or share information which may belong to another person and to which the user does not have any right, which are grossly harmful, harassing, blasphemous and defamatory, obscene, pornographic, pedophilic, libelous, invasive of another's privacy, hateful or racially, ethnically objectionable, disparaging, relating to encouraging money laundering or gambling, or otherwise which can be termed unlawful in any manner. So users shall not publish all these aspects through intermediaries' source. Further, also such aspects which harm minors in any way, infringes any patent, trademark, copyright or other proprietary rights, violates any law for the time being in force, which deceives or misleads the addressee about the origins of such messages, or communicates any information which is grossly offensive or menacing in nature. Here it is mentioning about fake news as well as hate speech, as such news can harm the social fabric in our society. Further, such information must not be published which impersonate another person. Such aspects must not be published which contain software viruses or any other computer code, files or programs designed to interrupt, destroy or limit the functionality of any computer resource, or any information should not be published on the intermediary site which threatens the unity, integrity, defense, security or sovereignty of India, friendly relations with foreign states or public order, or such information which causes incitement to the commission of any cognizable offense or prevents investigation of any offense or is insulting in any other nation. So these are the aspects of information which the users should not publish. Now you should know all these important aspects as it has been provided in the Intermediary Guideline Rules 2011. So this news becomes important primarily from your prelims perspective, as questions can be asked with respect to the knowledge on intermediary which has been defined in the Information Technology Act, and here you must know about the various aspects of intermediary and also about due diligence which must be carried out by intermediaries and certain aspects which must be published by the intermediary, such as terms and conditions of use, rules and regulation, privacy policy, user agreements, etc. So this topic becomes important both from your prelims and mains point of view. Now in the prelims, question can be asked on the aspect of governance, whereas in the mains, question can be asked under GS paper 2 under governance, especially regarding challenges to internal security through communication networks and also role of media and social networking sites in internal security challenges.
There are other news in today's newspaper important from perspective of your exam, but they have been covered in the DNS very recently. For example, the one related to Israel-Palestine conflict. There is another very important news concerning polity and governance related to appointment of CBI chief and in general the functioning of CBI and the reforms required in this institution. Both of them have been elaborately covered very recently, must be very fresh in your memory. In case you are not keeping track of these two news, I tell you it's important. Now sit back and answer these questions. Mucormycosis is not contagious, meaning it cannot spread from human to human touch, or it does not spread through cough, sneezing, etc. The statement is true. Mucormycosis is not contagious unlike other viral diseases like COVID-19. Statement 2 is fungus can penetrate the skin. Mucormycosis is caused by a mold, which is a kind of fungus. It does not penetrate the skin. It spreads through the spores of the mold present in the air and the water. But some fungus can get into the epidermis of your skin. So fungus can penetrate the skin. This statement is correct. The increase in sugar level in body can cause mucormycosis, causing molds to overgrow as it feeds off the sugar. This statement is incorrect. The increase in sugar level in the body causes immune defense system to get suppressed. And that gives the opportunity to mucormycosis causing molds, which is abundant in the atmosphere, to get hold of our physiological system. But well, some of the kind of fungus called as yeast, they feed off the sugar and their infection could increase for the reason given here. That yeast can feed off the sugar, so diabetic people will be more vulnerable to yeast infection, not to mold infection, which causes mucormycosis. Statement 4 is diabetes can be hereditary. This statement is obviously true. Diabetes can run in the family, and Indian genome makes people more vulnerable to diabetes. Statement 5 is insulin helps in absorption of glucose sugar level. Yes. And when the patient is given steroid, it makes the body insulin resistant. So the blood sugar level does not drop. The immune system starts getting compromised. Cytokine storm is related to hyperimmune response. Yeah, this is very factual. Absolutely correct statement. Safe harbor protection is related to the landfall of cyclone. The term safe harbor protection is making news, and you must know that it is related with the liability protection for intermediaries, the social media platforms, liability both against criminal and civil offense done by a third party using that platform. The fear is if the social media platform fails to comply with the new IT rules notification, then the government may take away the safe harbor protection that are enjoyed by them. Now we have come to the end of the session. Answer to yesterday's question of the day and today's question of the day is there on your screen. Please attempt the question, write your answer in the comment section, and also attempt the DNS quiz on the eLearn platform. Be safe, keep up your tempo for the coming prelims examination. Goodbye, take care.